My name is Ashley Stanton, and I'm going to give you my summary of chapters 1, 2, and 3. Um, I took a few notes. So, in chapter 1, I got that communication allows us to make connections with people such as friends, family, classmates, and coworkers. Our text defines communication as the process by which we create and share meanings, which this process is vital in maintaining our professional and our personal relationships. The four fundamental principles that our book talks about for communication are that communication is a process, communication is a system, communication is both interactional and transactional, and communication can be intentional or unintentional. Communication is constantly changing, which is what makes it a process, but it's also capable of affecting change, such as when you say something that you wish you hadn't said and you can't take it back, and it might change your relationships with other people. It is a system because it is made up of parts that work together to form a whole. Interactional communication is when people take turns communicating, whereas transactional is when both people send and receive messages at the same time. An example of interactional would be when you are having a conversation with one of your friends, maybe on the phone, and you talk and they respond, and then you respond, and so on and so forth. Transactional would be more of a like in a classroom, where it's a student and teacher sort of relationship where both people are sending and receiving messages, not necessarily talking at the same time. Communication, I think, are self-explanatory. Source and sender, message, interference or noise, channel, receiver, feedback, environment, and context. The 5 types of communication are interpersonal, which is within yourself; interpersonal, which is between people in a relationship; small group, team, and public. And myths and assumptions about communication can lead to miscommunication in both professional and personal relationships. Chapter 2 was about perception, which is a big part of communication. So I would start by defining perception, which says perception is the process of selecting, organizing, and interpreting information to give personal meaning to the communication received. So with that complex process and can lead to an abundance of miscommunication. Obviously, the process is a 3-step process. Selection is the first step, where we select certain stimuli to focus on. To focus on each stimuli that we receive. Then we organize this information that we've received, this stimuli, and then we interpret the information by giving meaning to the stimuli. And because everyone is different, our perceptions of received messages are different. Factors that can influence our perception include our past, physical characteristics, psychological state, cultural background, and gender. In last chapter 3, understanding who we are, or our self-concept, is key to why we communicate the way we do. Carl Rogers was a personality theorist that he believed our image of ourselves determined our personality, which in turn determined our style of communication. The expectations we set for ourselves can also affect our self-concept. And 2 other important influences on our concept are culture and gender. And I think that society and the media has set certain expectations for each cultural background and each gender that we affect the way that we communicate with one another, the way how to have a conversation versus the way that a male and a female or 2 males would have a conversation.